It isn't over. I'm not going to put any money on that they're going to turn it around,
Yeah,
but I do like the fight that we see in this team. I do like the fact that there's still a lot of heart there, and I'll give them
yeah.
credit for that. And I think I'm going to watch. I'm not giving up on them, and I'm going to root for them hard to win next week.
Pop, how you doing, man?
Son, glad you finally made it out of hair and makeup and we can get this thing started.
Oh man, yep, we are here again. Another another tough loss for the Commanders. Let's call it what it is. We played all right today, but the better team won, right? Um, and moving forward, we're gonna have to see. There was a lot of a classic. Adam Schefter did his favorite thing, which is tweet a big headline about the Commanders the day before we play an important game. That's just what he loves to do. Can't stand that guy at this point, but whatever. He goes ahead and tweets about how we're going to sell the whole team if we lose today. Could be a fire sale at the deadline. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. We're going to do some deadline talk a little bit after we get done talking about the game. Um, but lots to unpack here. Lots to unpack here. There's a lot of football played, some good football, some not so good football. This is definitely strap in, guys. We got a lot to get into today. Pop, what's your initial reactions of the game? How you feeling?
Yeah, you watch Twitter, you even listen to the reporters reporting on the game. People are going to pick apart every aspect of it, but honestly, for me, I can't complain about this individual performance or really either Eagles games. The effort was there, the performance was really good. I mean, just to see Sam bounce back after all the criticism and all the heat, pretty much keep it clean until the very end of the game with regards to sacks. He's getting the ball out of his hands quick. Uh, I'm going to say better from EB, but I still am really bothered by the pass to run ratio. I get that we're not going to run the ball, but we actually ran it fairly effectively today with some of the O line changes. And to be 52 passes versus 16 runs, and then to complain that Sam throws one bad ball for a pick, I'm not going to complain. I mean, you're you're just creating such a high degree of difficulty for the young man. But it was better. He was getting his ball out of hands. There was much more screen game. I think the way that I would sum this up more than anything, I mean, it was also good to see a fast start. We came out fast. We're up 14-3, up 17-10 at half. Amazing kick by Joey Sly at the end of the half. And, really to turn momentum around again, which I thought was so big after not converting that 4th and 1, and then they go down and score. But it's like, where is this effort and performance and coaching against the teams that we should beat? Where was it last week? We play anywhere close to this last week, and that's not a game. It's not a game. And the game plan could have worked to get rid of that pressure, to offset the blitz by getting the ball. You could see that the Eagles got back on their heels a bit, and then Sam was able to drop back and have pretty good time. And maybe some of the personnel changes helped with that. I'm not sure, but just where is it in the other against the other opponents? That's the frustrating part. Look, the Eagles are really good at football. AJ Brown is really good at football. So is Jalen Hurts. They are tough to stop, and our defense can't stop them. Our defense is far from special. They're below average.
Yeah, it's tough. It's
Bottom
tough to
line.
watch. It's tough to watch the performance this week and look back against the Giants game, look back against the Bears game, and just go, where the hell was it? For some reason, I mean, they said it on the broadcast. They're like, if Sam Howell played every game against the Eagles, he'd be a Hall of Famer. And it's just like, that's I don't think it's on Howell. I think a lot of it's more on the game planning. We've talked about that at length, but it's just amazing. Like this team is so fundamentally flawed in its construction and in the game planning, in the coaching on the defensive side of the ball, the coaching decision making in key moments. We saw that several times come to play today. That unfortunately, just the way this team is built right now, we've got to get all the bounces and we've got to be perfect offensively. If we're going to be throwing the ball 50 times a game, our defense can't stop anything. Our defense can't stop a high school team right now. And we're not going to run the ball. If those three things are going to be the problem, and we're not going to make the right decisions in the right moments in terms of coming up with crucial play calls. EB, I think you said it very nicely. For the most part, to quote Ron Rivera, for the most part, had a
Right.
very good game. That play call on 4th and 1 was atrocious. And you saw
Absolutely.
like what just blows my mind is you've seen that tight end kind of screen that they run on the bootleg where they move the pocket out and Sam does the play action one way, rolls the other way, and then hits. That seems to be automatic. I mean, that seems to be like push levels of automatic. Every time I've seen them run it, they get 2 or 3 yards. So where is that play call in that scenario? EB has tons of these creative screens that will get us 3, 4 yards on 2nd and 6, but he doesn't deploy them on 4th and 1. Um, I saw Mark Bullock made a good point on Twitter about saying that, he actually didn't hate the play call because he went to Terry in a key situation. And he thinks maybe there was a miscommunication between Terry and Sam on a potential option route there based on the cornerback leverage. You don't know. But in my opinion, I think you want to take out the potential for those kinds of things on 4th and 1 in a key situation where you can put your foot
I
on the
hated
neck.
the play call.
I'm
I don't
with you.
give a damn what
I'm with
Mark
you.
Bullock says or anybody of these so-called experts because there's, they what the saying that they say about opinions, right?
Yeah.
Just like some other body part. Everybody has one. I hated
But
the play call. And the fact that
um
you can't run the ball is the reason that you have to call a pass on a fourth and less than a yard. It's
yep.
ridiculous.
And so that's
Run the
where that's
ball.
that's where I get into what I said earlier, which is just the fundamentally flawed nature of the construction of this team. If you can't reliably run the ball, then you end up in situations where it's 4th and 5. You're in 2 down territory, but it's 4th and 5. You end up in situations where it's 4th and 1 and you have to go empty out of shotgun. I mean, did Scott Turner come back from the dead? What's going on there? I mean, that's awful. We yelled about empty sets all year last year. Can't stand it. And going empty, because I saw the Eagles do it a couple of times too. Going empty in short yard situations can be effective, and it's only effective when the opponent is expecting run. And there's no reason the opponent should ever be expecting run against this team. That's a huge issue. And the the refs played a part. There were some tough calls there. The defense gave up
The refs, it's
38.
the one sidedness of the refereeing is ridiculous. It's not why we lost, but
Frustrating. I was
it's
just about to
it's
say that.
it's ridiculous.
Not why we lost. Defense gave up 38 points. You saw, look, AJ Brown is the best offensive football player in the NFL right now. Argue with your mama. I don't care. He's the best offensive football player in the NFL right now. He's going to do what he's going to do. But Emmanuel Forbes is still on him in single coverage in a lot of situations. What are we doing? What are we doing?
But he can
That's
he can
ridiculous.
do whatever he wants. He can push him off or do whatever he wants. They got every call. Name a call that went the Commanders' way. One.
I'm with you. I'm with you. But
They
that's
got
where
every
again,
call.
again,
Not why
that's
we
gonna
lost, but
exactly not why we lost, and that's gonna happen some Sundays. And we got a lot of bounces too. That tush push
yeah.
that has been 92%, however effective, to the point where people all over the NFL are talking about wanting to ban it. They fumble on the 1 yard line and we get the ball. We got a lot of bounces.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
say between the calls and the bounces we got, I'd say it went about 50-50. And the problem is this team can't win when things go 50-50. This team is built
Yeah, but why but
terribly.
why
The
can't
game
why
plan is
can't
not there.
referees and the replay officials in the booth get calls right? I mean, everybody knew except for Ron
I'm with
Rivera
you.
that Devontae Smith didn't make that catch on fourth down, which was as crucial a play in this game as you can get. And yeah,
100%.
Ron screwed up. We'll get into that. But why can't the refs get that call right? Why can't they get it
100%.
right?
And I'm with you. I'm with you. You are
And then
not gonna.
Jahan, is a very close one, much closer drop on Jahan's play. They call it a drop, which I don't know how they call it in live play about it, and don't reverse it. So, like, you can get one call right, which was probably the right call, but the other one, which is much more obvious, how many referees are there on the field? All they got to do is watch the ball, and they
Yeah.
can't get calls right. And
So
then
what
why do you
happened
have
on?
somebody up in the booth? Don't put it on the coaches to throw a challenge flag. Get the call right on a crucial fourth down play. Get it
Yeah.
right.
What happened on the Jahan play? For a little bit of clarity, because it was a complete mess of confusion. Here's what happened. They ruled it a completion. Darius Slay was hurt. While Darius Slay was tending to his injury, the officials got together, talked about it, and said, no, it's an
Ridiculous.
incomplete pass. So they overturned it. This is before the 2-minute warning, when there is no official review at that point. We did not have the opportunity to get to the line and hustle because Darius Slay was hurt. And then
And it's ridiculous that they would
Ron
overturn
challenged
that
it.
call. They couldn't
Yeah,
see it. There's no way in live play they could see that ball hit the turf.
I
No
agree.
freaking way. They saw
I
him
agree.
bobbling it, but there's no way. So it's like what I'm just saying, and we can move on from it. But they got every call. Anything that was close, they got. And
And
that's not by accident. That I'm not saying that it's fixed. I'm not a conspiracy guy. I'm
that's what
not
it
saying
sounds
it's
like we're
fixed.
headed
I'm
here.
just saying there's a bias. There's a clear and obvious bias. And you know what? If you're the better team, you don't need that bias. I know there's a lot of Eagles fans at FedEx, but we were technically the home team. But
Yeah.
anyway, it's
I
I
don't I
think
don't want to do a refs
yeah,
thing. That's not my game.
I
I
agree.
respect you being frustrated
Just a
about it.
point
I
of
hear you.
frustration.
I respect it. I hear you. I agree with it. It's not my thing to talk a lot about. So I defer to you on that bit. But I think ultimately Ron's decision to challenge there was idiotic. You know it's inconclusive. You know it's inconclusive. You know there's a ton of confusion. You know what the refs are going to do is they're going to back themselves up, and it was stupid. So he challenges there, bad choice. We lose. Now we're down to timeout. Okay, that doesn't help our situation later on in the game after the defense makes a stop. Um, and just generally, like, Ron's decision not to challenge. As soon as you see this happened last year twice, this happened this year already once. As soon as you see the Philadelphia Eagles start sprinting to the line of scrimmage, throw the challenge flag.
His logic in the press conference was that he didn't get a chance to see the replay, which is what I text you. But how could he really clearly see that Jahan didn't drop that ball? So the logic is flawed. If you're going to go with your gut, you see them racing, and like you said, everyone's saying to him, they dropped it, they dropped it. Take a chance on a crucial fourth down play. Take a shot. That was the better time to take a shot, but Ron's judgment is just not there. It's not there anymore. It's not sharp. It's just passed him by. I don't know what it might have been before. It's never really been great here, and to be honest, it just seems to get worse. His in-game judgment on things like that just isn't very good. And I mean, I think from a React perspective, and maybe we can get into you can give a final thoughts, and you can get into the trade situation a little bit. I said it earlier. That's what I said. I said, I'm not unhappy with the effort by this team. I think Sam Howell played his Polinas off, and I'm super proud about how he came out and how he reacted. And all the haters just going to continue to hate. I was going to say something else, but I'll keep it clean. If you don't see the potential in that young man and how he played this game, and the fact that he's just able to come back off of that level of criticism and just play his butt off. That pass to Terry was a great, just an unbelievable pass and
Unreal
catch.
throw. Yeah.
But it's just not consistent. It's not
Yep.
consistent, and offensively we're inconsistent. I'm not going to complain about offense today. Defensively, we just suck. We're not a good defense. Week in, week out. We're not good. Our mediocre performances is what we celebrate. We were mediocre against Atlanta. We were all right against a very bad Giants team that can't move the ball against anybody. And we're just not good. And Chase disappeared today. Totally disappeared. So anyway.
It's a product of what we've seen from this defense. I mean, it's just it was a running joke. JP used to talk about was remember Ben DiNucci, and that was when after 2020 and 2021 the defense completely fell apart, and we were like, we thought this defense was going to be elite, and now they suck. What happened? And it was we played a stretch of really bad quarterbacks. We had the easiest schedule in the NFL last year. Remember, Ben DiNucci is alive and well, in my opinion. I think this defense has never been, I think we're seeing now after this 4 years of it, this defense has never been above average. This has been an average defense that has overperformed. And realistically, they have put more on tape at this point of being a bad defense than being an elite defense. So let's get into the trade talks at this point. Before we do that, just a quick numbers throw up here from the game. Sam Howell, 39 to 52, 397 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, 1 sack, 9 yards on the ground, 114 passer rating. If you don't think that's
Pretty
the guy,
good.
I don't know what to tell you. Jalen Hurts, 29 to 38, 319 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 sacks, for some 135.7 passer rating. Let's go ahead and say this defense sucks because that's just the case. Jalen and AJ Brown, 8 catches, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns on literally a historic pace. He is now past Calvin Johnson for the most 120-yard games in a row. He is on pace to be an all-time great right now. That's what he's showing.
It's a hot streak that I've never seen a receiver, and we've seen some great ones, but to be this dominant, he's really good at football. AJ Brown.
Yeah, yeah, easy to say. And I was texting you. It's
Yeah.
just if a bunch of scientists went into a lab and tried to build a wide receiver, you'd come out with AJ Brown. I mean, the
Yeah.
size, the quickness, the footwork. He's so technically good. His routes are just disgusting.
I mean, his two
Um,
two two touchdown catches were incredible. I mean,
yeah, and not to
just
mention super soft hands. Just a beast.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
anyways, let's get into this trade
Meanwhile,
stuff
our receivers are dropping balls at critical times. But
that are hitting him in the
yeah,
helmet. But let's get
yeah.
on to it. Trade wise, my personal opinion, and I'll hear you out on this pop too. I don't. I think Chase Young would be my number one priority in terms of keeping people on the defense, and that is over Jonathan Allen. I'm ready to move on from anybody and everybody because I know at this point John Allen, Montez Sweat, and Chase have been named of the three most likely to move. I think if you feel confident about getting a deal done with Chase, I'm ready to move on from Allen if that's what it takes. I think
I
Pez, the
can't
writing is
agree.
on the
I
wall. I
can't
think
agree
he's
with you
gone.
there. I can't
Um,
agree with you
Allen's on a expensive contract that is going to need to be renegotiated soon, and we can get a
there. I
lot more
think it's
value for him
probably.
right now.
I don't really want to get in a debate or share an opinion about who I think needs to go or not. I don't. I mean, I haven't really heard the John Allen stuff. I've heard the names of, but I'm sure you're spot on there. But I've heard Chase. I've heard obviously Montez. I mean, if I got to choose between those, I'd like to keep Chase around. I felt better about Chase before this game than this game. He did not play well at all today.
It's an elite
Um,
offensive line, but yeah, I agree.
he was undisciplined. He had a lot of situations where he went inside on the rush, and Hertz was able to just run free on his side of the ball. Yeah, I don't know if that's a called stunt or not, but he did not play well today.
Yeah,
And I mean, I think I, I'm going to just trust in. I got to believe Josh Harris is going to put his stamp on this, and I would agree.
Let's hope.
There's very very few people that are untradeable. It's going to be interesting to watch. Um, I would like to keep Chase around, but because I just don't think you're going to get the value for him, and you do
Yeah,
have some control with the franchise tag and everything, right? And you've got plenty of cap space
yeah.
next year. I don't. I still the John Allen thing kind of comes out of left field for me. I mean, I still think he's
It
the
is a
best
little out
player
of
on
left
that.
field.
I still he's the best player on that defense,
I don't
in
know how
my
much
opinion.
legitimacy
So
that there is to that,
yeah,
but that's where that's at. My
and saying you
thinking
want to
is
keep
just
Chase over Allen, I think in terms of consistency of play, I think that's crazy. But that's just my opinion.
that's that's fair. You're entitled to your opinion. I think
Yeah,
it's more a game of just nothing's getting done on the defense, no matter how amazing John Allen may be,
he's
right?
also hurt.
And yeah, he's playing hurt.
He's
That's a
also
part
playing
of it
through an
too.
injury.
That's a part of
Yeah.
it too. But bottom line is nothing. It's not that I don't think he's a good player. It's just I think we get more meaningful value for him than we get for a 10-game rental on one of the defensive ends. But anyways,
Nobody on that defense is super special. That you fear. That's the problem. They're solid. They're good to very good guys like Allen and Payne
yeah,
and Curl. Um, and then everyone else is pretty average. At times Fuller is good. At times
Fuller's
Chase
really good.
can be really good.
Yeah.
Montez is okay. Like I'd say, good. Maybe average to good. We oversize our own guys because we're fans of this team. Um, that's
I
what
also
happens.
think
To
I
me,
think
there's
there's enough.
one superstar on this team. His name is he wears number 17.
Yeah,
In my opinion.
it's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
I think there's an element of it too that unfortunately we will just never know should some of these guys get traded or not come back. But I don't think they're being put in positions to succeed. Schematically, we've talked a
Nah,
lot
coaching
about
is
Del Rio just being awful. Del Rio's awful. No
I
two ways
put
about it.
the when we talk about the inconsistencies from game to game, I honestly, and people may think I'm crazy, I put zero of it on the players.
Agreed.
I think the players come out and play hard just about every week. Maybe the Chicago game's an exception, but you're coming off a short week after a really emotional game, and yeah, maybe you could argue they were flat. But the coaches just
Well,
aren't. Coaching's just not good.
yeah. To the point about the players, Doc Walker said it best. Secretariat is covered in welts and bruises and bumps. It's the jockey. The jockey has got to kick somebody into gear. And, for everybody sitting at home blaming the players, think about really ask yourself every day when you go into work, when you do your job, are you 100% fired up and motivated and doing things to the absolute top capacity? Or do you need a little nudge from your manager, from your boss every once in a while? Hey, do
But I
things
don't.
this way. Hey, don't forget about that.
But
Like,
I don't think it's about
I'm
motivation
backing you.
as
I'm
much as
backing you up. I'm
it's
100%
it's
backing you
game
up and
plan
agreeing with
and
you. It's on the
how the
coaching.
game is called. Yeah,
Sure. Yeah, sure.
you
It's
know.
all it's all a part of that
I mean,
analysis.
I guess
But
the jockey thing, that's okay. I mean, I get it. It's probably when you go to the whip, when you don't. It's not my favorite
exactly.
analogy in the world, but
And
um
redirecting when you're headed in the wrong direction and when things need to be changed, i.e. game plan.
or
But
who you put in the lineup and who you don't. And
that
waiting
too.
8 games
Yep.
in to bench a guy that can't play. But
Yep.
anyway, I mean, yeah, it's just not there, for sure. We can go on and on. I mean, I think it was a really good effort by the guys today. There's no moral victories.
Nope.
We halfway called
Learned
the
that one the
last
hard way.
game against the Eagles. One, this one's not. But if we could play like this every week, we could win our share of games.
Yeah. But how much are you betting on that happening, Pop? Unfortunately,
Probably
based
not.
off of what we've seen. Yeah. Let's move on to the awards. Did have some good individual performances today, so we're gonna do awards. Let's go ahead and get into it. Sauce Award we're going to give to Jahan Dotson. We were between Jahan and Howell. We're going to give the edge to Jahan. 8 for 108 and a touchdown. just good to see him back. He's got career highs today in catches and yards. So that's super awesome to see. Just coming off of a lot of
Yeah,
people
great
saying he was a
performance.
bust or he wasn't worth it or X, Y, and Z. A lot of the crazy talk on Jahan Dotson. I know we were down on him and disappointed where he'd been, but he was given opportunities today and he showed up and he made some tough catches and he did his thing. So that's awesome to see. Helmet stickers, Sam Howell. I read his numbers off earlier, but just a great day from him.
Enough said. Yeah.
Yeah, enough said there. Logan Thomas, 6 for 44 and a touchdown, and then we'll throw B Rob in there as well, 10 for 59, 2 catches for 20 yards. Would
Yeah,
have liked
great
to see a
performance by B-Rob.
little more involvement for B Rob. Um,
Yeah.
what are you gonna do? Uh, honorable mention, gotta go to Jamison Crowder. Curtis Samuel dinged up today, ended up leaving the game, and Crowder ended up going 7 for 95 and a tud. Um, a decent chunk of that came on that last drive, but it's
He
really
looked
good to see
good.
him back out there and getting involved. That's the thing is like it did come on that last drive where they're maybe playing soft, but he was making plays. So he at least made a good case to be getting that ball more should Samuel miss some time.
He's got to
And
be number 4. I mean, just he should get all of Pringle's touches, like I told you at this point.
if Samuel's out, I have no problem making him our
No,
slot
if
receiver and
Samuel's
playing him
out,
number three.
yeah, if Samuel's out, he should fill in, which I think has been proven. I think EB
Yeah,
really likes him. Yeah,
definitely, yeah. He's an Eric Bieniemy type of player. If you look at the kind of guys that EB liked in Kansas City,
yeah.
it
I
seems to line up.
love Jamison Crowder. His only issue's ever been staying healthy, but
Yeah,
he can
and he
ball,
just adds so much in that return game. Just every time he catches the ball is
no
another 10
doubt.
yards. That changes the
Yeah,
game
he can
so
ball.
much when you're starting on the 30 versus the 42, But
Right.
really, really like it from him. Kick out to the game. There's got to be no challenge on that Devonta Smith catch. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. Ron Rivera, we're talking to you. And that I would lump in just the challenging in general from Rivera and the coaching decisions in key moments. That play call on 4th and 1, the challenge on the Jahan catch that almost felt like he was making up for the fact that he didn't challenge earlier in the game. Um, we've talked about it at length. It just is what it is. Rivera's game feel and decision making just is not there right now. So that's unfortunately, something we have to play against almost.
But you're sitting there and like it's so frustrating. And I mentioned it earlier, right, where his excuse for not throwing the flag was he couldn't see the replay. But yet he throws it on the Jahan play where there's no way he could have got a clear look at the fact that he's actually made that catch,
Yeah.
even though it was completely bogus that the refs, turned that around. And the rules are what they rule. I hate the challenge flag rule personally. I hate it. I just think there should be a replay
Get
referee
it
in the
right.
booth.
Yeah.
Everything close, you should just look at real quick. That was a quick decision by a replay ref. And if you're not sure, tell the ref to wait. Say, look, that looked like a close one. You're going to have to wait, hold the Eagles up for a second here while we get a look at this replay. I don't think replay should be in the hands of coaches, but that's an off-season pod
Yeah.
discussion when we talk rule changes or whatever. In the meantime, these are the rules, and it was absolutely the kick-outs of the game that he just didn't make that play.
Well, and
And
even just
yeah,
like
that's a
whether
huge moment. I think that moment is as
I
big
was
as
on
it
fourth
gets in the
down.
game.
Yeah.
It's as
I
big as it
mean,
gets in the game.
and just to back up your point on the inconsistencies there, even if it comes down to just like if Kendall Fuller rolled an ankle on that play, they would have spent more time looking at it and they probably would have overturned it before we even
Well,
had to
we're
challenge
up
it.
7-10,
Like,
17-10, and we get the ball back in great field position,
yeah,
right? I mean,
that's a game swinner.
it's a great stop by the defense and the way the offense was moving the ball. So that's probably got to pick one moment in the game as the most critical. Well, there's probably two. Our 4th and 1 play, that we didn't convert on. Although I felt like we reacted really great with that drive at the end of the half and getting
Yeah,
that
getting
field
that
goal. I felt
three.
better I felt better about things, at that moment that I think we reacted to it. But yeah, that's the play of the game.
Yeah.
Our lack of, call there was huge, and yeah,
Yeah, I agree with you there, Pop. That was a tough one. So it's got to be our kickouts of the game, for sure. Um, it's just tough. It's just tough. We've
yeah.
talked
I
about
mean,
it at
we
length.
can get into it. We can get into it some more. And you're gonna hate me for this, I know it, and maybe I'm delusional, but I don't think the season's over. I think that we proved today, and we proved it twice against the Eagles, that we can do some pretty good things, especially offensively. Um, I think there's two very losable, but also very winnable games back to back coming up here. And it isn't over. I'm not going to put any money on that they're going to turn it around,
Yeah,
but I do like the fight that we see in this team. I do like the fact that there's still a lot of heart there, and I'll give them
yeah,
credit for that. And I think I'm going to watch. I'm not giving up on them, and I'm going to root for them hard to win next week.
yeah. I mean, headed up to Foxborough next week to play the Patriots. Got the Seahawks after that, then the Giants, Cowboys, Dolphins, Rams. We've got a. I mean,
Yeah,
we're into
my
the
bad.
toughest stretch of the schedule.
I thought it was Pats Giants. So yeah, Seahawks. That's a tough one, but let's say
Seahawks in
two out of the
between.
next three. Two
Yeah,
out of the next three. Yeah.
we'll see. Hey, I'm gonna sound like you here when I say I don't even want to bother projecting because you just
Yeah.
never know what team you're gonna get today, and every time you step up to the line, you're like, well, you watch the first couple drives and you go, is this going to be worth watching today or not? And you
Well,
never
we got
know
a
until those
pregame
first two
pod, but
drives.
I will say this:
So
as much of this, the little bit of hope, I just cracked it. I'm just keeping the door cracked a little bit open for a
that's
little
fair,
hope. We
Bob. I
lose next
respect it.
week and we lose next week and go 3-6. Then it's over.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
It's
really over. Yeah.
yeah, and it's just hard to see. We'll see.
But
We'll see how the
we
guys
might have
bounce back.
found a quarterback. We might have found a quarterback, and Dan Snyder's gone. Open
I was
it.
about
Open it
to.
with that.
So I was gonna
We
say
might have
that.
found a quarterback, and Dan Snyder is gone.
I love
Don't
that.
forget
I
that,
love that.
people.
Yeah, this is the first time in my life the trade deadline is coming up, and I'm calling
There
for
is
owner
hope
interference. I'm like, please let the owner interfere at the trade deadline. So that's a good sign, I guess,
for
right?
now. Yeah, for
Yeah,
now.
at least for now, until proven otherwise.
Yeah.
But let's wrap this thing up. There's hope. I like that, Pop. But again, a tough loss. But yeah, as always, we'll be here. We'll be coming to you after the trade deadline, 4 p.m. on Tuesday. So we'll be able to give you guys all the information on that after it happens. And until next time, let's wrap this thing up. I've been Dom.
This is Pop.
Thanks for another great week.